Michelle, would you? Do you?
Do you know what? I definitely went topless sunbathing before the band. So I remember going to Tenerife and stuff with my exes, and definitely do some topless sunbathing. I would not do it now, simply because, you know, the kids will probably read about it. But I think like the whole idea of sunbathing topless, if it's in a vicinity where it's allowed, absolutely, why not? I have no problem with that at all. But I don't want to see anybody's bits down there.
No.
I do not want to see anybody sunbathing completely naked at all. The idea of it frightens me. The idea of going to bed without underwear on frightens me. I just don't want to feel that all let out. Not that it's flapping around, but you know what I mean.
What about Bobby? Do you sunbathe naked?
Definitely not. So my dad's and my parents' place, sometimes I will sunbathe on their sort of they've got like an outdoor rooftop, but boxer shorts, towel, always dignified. And I always think in terms of safeguarding perspective, like if someone did choose to sunbathe topless in their back garden, what if a child accidentally saw, or a young person? So I always think in terms of that, make sure that, I mean, obviously in your own space you can do what you want, but always be considerate of people around you. If you know that the neighbours are gone for like a month, then fine, in those few weeks you can take advantage, but always be mindful of people around you.
CCTV everywhere.
Oh my God.
Gosh, Belinda, what about you? Would you? Do you?
I love the relationship Brits have with nudity. It's so like the carry-on laughing.
We're terribly hung up on
So
on
it's
nudity.
just lovely. I much prefer it to the more relaxed French, get your boobs out all the time. I actually think it's quite sweet. No, definitely no sunbathing. I would not put that on anyone to show my bits to anyone. I love skinny dipping. That I would take any chance to do.
Where do you get the chance to do that?
Devon. On an empty beach. I don't know.
How do you know the beach will stay empty? You might be one man, two men, three men and their dog came to have a walk on the beach, and then there you are.
And I even sometimes, you know, when the girls were younger, we'd take those moments, because it is different for girls when you're exposed like that. You choose your time, but the lovely feeling of the water whooshing around you.
Oh, no, I don't want anything.
I think, but no, we choose our time. But actually sunbathing naked, I mean, my small garden has 30 windows looking on it from the back. There's a hotel, so, and the terrace houses on top look down into our garden, so the girls aren't allowed to go out in the garden dressed with anything less. But, you know, each to your own. If you've got privacy,
well,
go
you
full
you say each to your own. We're now joined, because obviously we're not just theorising about this, we've got to get quite literal about this, and we're now joined by James Shuttleworth. And James Shuttleworth is completely naked, apart from those headphones, the only thing he's wearing, and he's at a Sunfolk naturist site. Hello there, James, how are you?
Hello there. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. The weather isn't particularly sunny at Sunfolk today, I fear.
Yes, well, this is it. I mean, we've had absolutely blissful weather for the past, several weeks now. And it just so happens when we're doing this interview today that the clouds do come upon us, unfortunately. So, but what can you do? You can't control the weather.
Well, if you turn blue or if you start sprouting all sorts of goosebumps, we'll definitely see them, because you've got nothing hiding your modesty at all. And I believe you've been a big fan of naturism for at least 4 years. What was it that attracted you to walking about in freezing cold St Albans in the nude?
Well, to be honest, it's just the freeness of it all, you know, because of course it builds your self-confidence, body acceptance, and also, to be honest, it's the people. The people here have really kept me, because of course, you know, they're quite open-minded, they're quite engaging, they're quite overall just great people, and the fact that there is a community out there. So.
I mean, when we think of naturists, we always think of those kind of 1950s, don't we, kind of Pathé newsreels. And the naturists were always either playing volleyball, or they were always doing something, going to the little shop or supermarket, holding a kind of wire basket full of baked beans and spaghetti hoops or something, completely naked. And I think, you know, that those of us who are uninitiated, non-naturists, always think it must be kind of quite uncomfortable and also a little bit dangerous. You know what if you end up getting a bash in your intimate little places with a volleyball or a wasp, or a wasp? Absolutely, quite right, Belinda. Or a wasp.
If that seat was hot, ouch. Right?
Well, this is it. The thing is, it's naturist, you know, kind of the golden rule is make sure you always bring a towel. So then, of course, wherever you're going to sit, like today, I'm sat on this towel here. You know, it's kind of the golden rule, really. Is make sure you bring your towel.
Okay, how do you not have the gene that makes you feel shy or embarrassed? Or when your mum and dad were raising you, they said, those are your private parts because they're private. We call them private because no one gets to look at them except you and just one person that you fall in love with very deeply and then marry. That type, well, that's what my parents said to me anyway, that type of a thing. How come you don't feel shy, embarrassed, inhibited?
Well, the thing is, though, I think it goes back to, before I even started doing this, those things were exactly what I was feeling, because I was quite shy and I was quite, self-conscious of the bits that I thought was negative, about my own body. But then, I think the key thing is to kind of remember is if you're wanting to get better, and have a better body experience, and accept who you are, because at the end of the day, you can't really change, can you? If you're 5'6", you're 5'6". If you're if one boob hangs lower than the other, you can't really change those things and things like that. So at the end of the day, you just got to come to accept it, really, haven't you? And so, before I even started doing all these things and taking part in events and coming to campsites like this one here, I was having those feelings. But the biggest caveat, what I would say is, it's like a horror film, in your mind is the worst, isn't it? You can go to a horror film in the pictures and it could be something that's quite scary, but the image that comes into your own mind, your own kind of imagination, is the scariest thing you can ever see. And so, of course, if you want to give it a go, a barrier could be that, like I say, that kind of, I don't know what's going to happen
Question
kind of thing.
for you. I've always wanted to ask this question. We have to couch it in delicate terms because we're ladies and gentlemen and we don't want to frighten anybody or upset anybody. But you're a chap and there you are, you're naked and you're at Sunfolk and you're going to see lots of naked ladies, I'm imagining, of all shapes, sizes and ages and whatevers. What happens if you become excited by the sight? Because as a chap with no clothes on, you can't hide what's going on with your anatomy. How at your young age can you guarantee that won't happen? Or does it happen?
I mean, let's be serious. It does happen, but you're talking... I mean, I think it was only when I needed to go to the toilet once. So you just go to the toilet and then it's done. You know what I mean? You don't. I would say, do not think that it's happening all the time, every day. At all. It's just not a thing, really. And if you do, you just wrap up. You have a walk, go away. Things like that. It's just not really a thing. After about 15 minutes of your first encounter, you kind of forget you're naked anyway. So if you kind of think of that regard, it just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen at all, really.
You've been very honest. You've been very naked. You've been very gentlemanly. All we've seen is a flash of ankle, I think, and just half of one move.
Okay.
Oh no, don't show any more than that. It's been an elegant sufficiency, but we hugely appreciate your enthusiasm for naturism, and it's really nice of you to share it with us today. Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Brenda, who's on the line in Essex. Brenda, what did you think of that? James in the Altogether?
Well, I think if I did that, my daughter next door would put me in a home.
And that's your own flesh and blood you're talking about, not even some neighbour that isn't your family.
Well, I've kept myself quite nice, I think, for my age. I'm 82.
Yes.
I've had 4 children. I fed all of them myself, and I look after myself, but they have said that I've got Alzheimer's now, and I thought, oh, rubbish. But, they look after you. They give you 2 more pills, slow it down.
Seem absolutely on the ball to me, Brenda. Would you then sunbathe naked, or would you think your children would take revenge if you did?
My daughter is next door. She'd say, Mother, get some clothes on. My eldest one lives next door. She'd say, she looked over the fence, she said, Mother, you're putting me off my dinner. Get some clothes on.
Brenda, thank you so much. Now, I did ask you at home, would you sunbathe naked? I even put it on my own Instagram. I started getting all sorts of... I hope I don't come off the show and have a whole load of those pictures.
I know.
Yeah. On the other hand, sometimes I find them quite intriguing.
And reassuring.
Yeah, just sometimes. 79% of people said absolutely no to sunbathing naked, but 21% said, yeah, they do. Sunbathe completely nude. So the question, Belinda, is have we persuaded you? Looking at James there, so relaxed in the chilly environment of St Albans today.
I just good for James and all power to him. But I just think down there is a very private and sometimes can be slightly unhygienic. You can get a bit sweaty. You can want to scratch down there.
Stop it!
Not Mars. I'm just thinking of
Lord.
all the men in my family. Anyway, I'm glad that there are trousers there to prevent that, from being seen.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's properness to just cover down below. A bit of sunbathing of the boobs, I think, is pretty freeing and nice, as long as you don't get any holes in the wall of the neighbours looking through and putting it on Twitter.
Bobby, have we persuaded you?
I mean, what makes life beautiful is the variety of choices that people make, and the young man there, perfectly entitled within that confines of that nature's region. But I say, I'll leave him to be in peace.
And Michelle, unless you want it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, St Albans is just round the corner from me, so I might just have to check it out. I'm just really glad he didn't have to move on that seat.